All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA Show. So, what I want to call this podcast is Family Should Be Called Forgiveness. And, the reason I want to do a podcast on this is because, you know that old famous saying that you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family, right? But when it comes to family, I think no matter who you are, you may have done something to family members or a family member that has, led to some type of issue. Also, if you have family members out there, they have probably done things to you that has led to an issue, right? I think no one goes unscathed when it comes to family. That does not mean that I think anybody intentionally means to hurt anybody. But I have realized over the years the one thing that a lot of people hold on to or get upset about over regarding many things is how other family members act, either towards one another or towards themselves. I also don't think a lot of people realize how they behave within their own family. I just don't. That's just my opinion. I have a massive family. I'll bet you I'm coming up on 150 cousins on one side of my family. That doesn't even include the ones in Italy. We have a massive family. And I love my family, like I think most people do. But me living in Florida, I've always been able to kind of be on the outside looking in. I was, after 18 years old, for the most part, I was in Florida or California. And a lot of times my family members are all living in Chicago. A lot of them live near one another. And they see one another. And again, I have a massive family. When there's a party, there's not like 20 or 30. There could be 50, 80. It's massive. It's big. And, but still, a lot of my family members are wonderful. A lot of them became very successful on my mother's side of the family, which is great. Because I kind of grew up on one side of my family, my father's side, being very upper middle class, business orientated, successful. And on my mother's side, for a long period of time, they were struggling. But now, my mother's side of the family, a lot of younger guys, middle-aged, my uncles, a lot of people became very successful as time went on, which is wonderful. And, you look at your family and you sometimes think, like, I am who I am because of my family. I am, truthfully. And I just did a podcast with my co-host Robert regarding, people we looked up to throughout our life. And I would say the people I looked up to, besides your parents, are your family members, right? A lot of mine were my uncles. They were actually my great uncles. And, I believe, besides, again, my parents, kind of programmed me into my beliefs, gave me a lot of empowerment, and they believed in me. I was so damn fortunate, But I also see a lot of times with my family how they, as much as they know I love them, and I'm pretty sure they love me. I can feel it. I'm not just saying it to toot my own horn. They know I'm there to protect them and love them, and, and vice versa. But I also think sometimes, and this goes for me too, I lose patience, and it could be with my parents, it could be with cousins, it could be with aunts, uncles. That doesn't mean I'm going to lash out by any means or disrespect any of my family members, but sometimes I feel aggravated, that's my own belief issue. But sometimes I'm wondering, why would I sometimes put myself in a position to get aggravated so easily? Because I'm usually somebody who kind of sees, I try to both sides. And then I also see my family members too, kind of, sometimes arguing over certain situations and kind of having to sometimes pick a side, which I am not good with that. Because again, I like seeing things on both sides. But when all is said and done in life, I believe, I went through this with my daughter. My first daughter had a liver transplant. And, I say if you're sick, because I saw this with my daughter, if you're in the hospital, see who comes and visits you. Okay? See who reaches out to you. See who's calling you. Right? And here's the deal. Just because other people don't reach out to you, doesn't mean they don't love you or they don't care for you. But I am saying, usually if you're, in a hospital room, for the most part, your close friends, maybe colleagues, but for the most part, your family members are going to be the ones there for you. I actually, with my daughter, had an overwhelming amount of people. They even had a big benefit where they had, I don't know how many hundreds of people. If you told me there was 400 or 500 people, I wouldn't be shocked. But I know it was well over 200-300 people. I think it was. It was massive. I had to shut everybody out because I had so many family members reaching out, wanting to come to the hospital. It was overwhelming. I had to block that. But, you know, I learned how important family is. I've also learned throughout my life how forgiveness, and not only me forgiving them for maybe they've done something that I didn't like, but me, also asking for forgiveness because I've probably done things, I've said things, I've acted out. It could be physical altercations when I was a young boy. You're fighting with family members, screaming, yelling, saying things. But, at the end of the day, again, really, for us to really, I think, really enjoy every aspect of our life, especially when it comes to family members, we have to forgive. I see a lot of family members throughout my life stop talking to one another, and I always despise that. I actually did that once with my pops. I got in a big argument with him, and I refused to talk to him. And again, back to programming, a lot of my family members would do this when they would be aggravated with one another. And then I ended up running into my father again, and we ran into each other in a bar, and I was like, oh my God, I saw my pops. And then I ended up leaving and going back to Chicago, but I did talk to him. But I said, I am never going to do that again to anybody. Not only my pops, but just other family members. Now, that doesn't mean you sometimes take breaks from one another after a beef a little bit, but I will never shun anyone again. Now, if they've done something that's extreme that I have to stay away from them, that's different. I haven't been in that position. But I have been in positions where I think I've let family members down. Or I've put family members in a position where, like, even when I was making films, they were helping me make my films, and I demanded a lot out of them, and I didn't see how much time and effort they were putting into it. And then if they didn't do what I was saying or gave me the time that I wanted, I'd get aggravated at them. It was very self-centered and selfish, and I had to figure that out about myself, And, I think in this podcast, the one thing I want you to take away, if you are listening, is if you are, fighting with whoever in your family. Now, I get they may have done something that's horrific to you, right? Maybe that's on, that's between you two. But if you sometimes, if it's not horrific and you have family members out there that you love that you haven't heard about, I talk about it all the time, reach out. Now, you may be thinking, why don't they reach out to me? Well, a lot of times maybe they're going through something. Maybe they don't think you want to hear from them. Maybe they're busy, right? Just saying, maybe they're going through something health-wise that you don't know about. Or maybe emotionally they're just going through things. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Worry about what you're doing, is my theory. If you have, I don't care if it's cousins, half-brothers, half-sisters, I don't care if it's aunts, uncles, I don't care if they're step-parents, whoever the hell they are, if you miss them, or you had a jam with them, try to get in the mindset of forgiveness. I'm telling you one thing that is always, I did a podcast on this. I don't even know if I posted it, What's Wrong with Apologizing. Sometimes you don't even realize carrying all this baggage around when it comes to family, being upset with one another and stuff. Once you work it out, it's almost like it's such a weight off your shoulders. But also you jamming with a lot of family members also brings a lot of, I'd hate to say negativity, that's kind of an overused word, but if we're at a party and we know these two are fighting and not talking and always mad at each other or all this, and, it brings a lot of disruptance. And it's not healthy for anybody. And I definitely don't think it's healthy for the younger people to see people also fighting or lashing out or ignoring one another. I just think we need to truly forgive one another. And nobody, again, is unscathed. I think no matter who you are, you're going to end up forgiving others. And no matter who you are, you're going to want to be forgiven at certain times in your life. No one is perfect. I don't give a shit who you are. So, anyways, I am going to wrap it up there. I'm actually going out to dinner tonight with my cousins. They're in from Chicago, actually. So that's going to be a wonderful dinner. And we're going to go to my friend's place, Vincenzo's, and I drive. So I'm going to give them a plug there. Yeah, I was with Vincenzo this week, Monday. He wanted, very seldom, he owns the restaurant. It's a big, beautiful restaurant, and I drive in Orlando. He very seldom gets to go out, but he has 2 kids as well, besides running. They basically oversee 2 restaurants. They have another one, Ciao Italia. I've known them for over 30 years. And then he got to go out early, so we went out and had drinks and cigars, and it was a blast. I've known him since he's, 8, 9 years old, Vincenzo, and he turned into this incredible, not only chef, but businessman. Couldn't be prouder of the guy. So if you ever come to Orlando, check it out. All right, take care.